Welcome to a brand new edition of Backstage 360. Today it has a father-daughter theme. We'll find out in Snack in a Movie how a daughter celebrates her dad. And then at the end of the show, Don Amaro sings a very special song for his little girl. But coming up, I'll sit down on the couch with a feisty lady, the boss lady from QX104, Leanne Cater. Now let's introduce you to a brand new singer-songwriter, Jadea Kelly.
I wanna drown it, way I feel. If I do, does it make the heat less real? Well, Love and Lust was released in June, and we really kind of wrote it and produced it over a year and a half with Stu Crooks and my guitarist Tom Uhas. And it definitely is one of the most honest records I've ever written, but I wanted to be uncensored with it, and I wanted to be vulnerable, and it was a painful album to write, but I see how it's helping people, and I think that's my main motive in being a songwriter, is just to help people through my music. For me, baby, wait up in my bed, 'cause love and lust not dead. It's definitely an album that kind of stems from heartbreak. I think some of my favorite albums and favorite songs come from that dark, vulnerable place. I write from my own experience and my own relationships, so there really wasn't any choice but to write about it, even though it was painful. Maybe I'll do a nice pop record next that people can dance to. Tired of pain, wanna feel it with you, make this easy. I think it's important to love yourself and to create this as a home. I definitely feel like I've done that, and I'm happy being alone, so it's good enough for me. Easy for you, baby, wait up in my bed. Each album is a different shade of your personality, and I'm growing, I'm getting older. I'm not a 21-year-old songwriter anymore. I'm learning more about life and lust and love, and yeah, who knows what will happen. I really just follow the inspiration where it leads.
All right, the boss lady is in the house, and I just had to say that. No, it's Leanne Cater from QX104, the boss lady. How did you get that name?
Well, it's funny because I've been in radio for longer than I'd like to admit, come clean to, but I never had a nickname until I moved to Winnipeg. And I came by it quite honestly, and actually I'm sort of proud of it because it came from a bootstrapper moment. I took a little break. I got tumbled out of radio for my very first time when I was working. I had my own morning show in Toronto, and they decided to flip the format of the radio station. So just all of a sudden one day we were all tumbled out. So in between I was doing a bunch of other things and trying to see what else was out there other than radio, which I'd done my whole life. And one of the things I was writing for inmusic.ca, and they ended up consolidating and turning that whole website into The Loop, so it became not just music centric but all things. But I was the last writer left standing because country music was the only format making them any money. So I thought, well, naturally I need to start my own. So I started countryboss.com, was writing as the boss lady, and then across the country I was talking to some of my radio friends in morning shows doing little boss lady updates, including Brody and Samantha here in Winnipeg at QX104. And that's how I wound up in Winnipeg. So they asked me to keep the nickname, and it stuck, and I like it.
It's worked.
Yeah.
It's interesting. You mentioned the way, you got the radio station rolled, and we all know radio these days, right?
It's volatile. Yeah. It always has been, though. I mean, it's nothing new. People who get into this business, and you know very well, you're into TV, so things come and go. Everything's changing. The landscape's changing all the time. It makes it exciting.
Yeah.
It's radio and TV, not for the faint of heart. So you get into it, you know what you're expecting though. So for me, I had been in almost 19 years, making all my own decisions and going exactly where I wanted to, and I felt 10 feet tall and bulletproof. So I had it coming.
Yeah. Well, it does make you humble. But now, okay, Winnipeg, you had such a big career in radio. What's special about Winnipeg? What have you discovered about us?
Oh, what isn't special about Winnipeg and Manitoba in general? This province is amazing, and I'll tell you, it's the first time I was really nervous when I moved here because I'd never lived outside of Ontario. I worked in radio, so I moved around to a bunch of different towns and cities, but I was always within a short drive of my family in the Ottawa Valley. So I was really nervous about changing provinces, but I came here and immediately it was just the biggest, warmest hug. Friendly Manitoba.
Yeah.
What else can I say? That is such an apt description of this province. People are so welcoming and so kind. And I mean, it's not across the board, you know. It's a place. It's got all kinds of people in it. Not everybody's going to love you, but those who do have made me feel so welcome, and they did so immediately. Within the first year, I had a family ask me to come with them for Thanksgiving. And this is just somebody who'd come in, brought their children into the radio station to help us out with a cute little bit. And they invited me for Thanksgiving, knowing that I wasn't going to be able to go home to my family. And I've been there every year. This was my 4th year.
I'm back.
Oh, and funny story there. The woman who invited me, she invited me, but it turns out it was at her sister-in-law's house. I went there and it was in Gimli, so I drove myself out to Gimli on Thanksgiving, arrived ahead of the woman who invited me. So I thought, oh well, I've got my appetizer, in I go. I walked in and they were so welcoming and so kind. I found out this Thanksgiving, 4 Thanksgivings later, they had no idea I was coming. They didn't know who I was. They didn't know who had just arrived on their doorstep.
But they brought food.
But I brought bacon-wrapped Smokies, and so I was in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that's hysterical. But I mean, that's you though, Leanne. I mean, it's your personality though. You're on radio just by your voice and by your conversations. You just invite people in. So let's talk now about the genre, country. It's changed too as well. I mean, when we did the Manitoba Country Music Awards, we saw such variety and such talent.
Yeah, well, all music changes and evolves. It has to. It has to if it's going to stay relevant. And a lot of people will say, "Oh, that's not country," but yeah, it is. It's today's country. It's the way country is today. I love Johnny Cash, but back when Johnny Cash was Johnny Cash, they were telling him he wasn't country. He was too gospel, and that's not country. And so there are modern traditionalists out there. I think the really great thing about country music in this day and age is that at least if it's not mainstream and not, because there's always going to be the mainstream radio country, right? Now they've got alternatives. The internet is there. So there are so many super talented artists out there, modern traditionalists, making the kind of music, the kind of style of country music that some of the people who loved Johnny Cash, loved Willie Nelson, loved Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, all those, there are artists out there making that music, and they're easily accessible now on the internet. You just have to maybe just look a little bit.
So who do you like to listen to?
I like to listen to so many things, a cross-section. I'll tell you though, I'm one of the ones who likes the modern traditionalists.
Yes.
So in Canadian country music, I love all the artists that we play, and you know, you know who they are because we're playing them all the time and talking about them. Lindy Ortega is coming to town with Chris Stapleton in March, and that is the crown jewel of concerts for me in the coming year. And there are a lot of really great shows coming to town, but that one, I saw Lindy Ortega with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra.
Yes.
When they did her turn there, and I had tears running down my face in the audience. Her voice is so powerful, and it moves me. And so people move me like that. Dolly Parton was just in town. She's another one who just gets me to the core. You know?
An icon. And like Lindy too is funny that you mentioned her because I got a chance to interview her when she was just coming up, you know, and the publicists, you know, like they build them up and they're, you know, she's going to be big, and but she was so sweet and she had these incredible boots. Of course, we talked boots.
Her little red boots.
And then she sang, and it was just like, oh my goodness, girl,
Right?
you are going places.
She was not on my radar at all until she did the song Bounty with Dean Brody and then performed it on the CCMA Awards show. I remember I was sitting in and I'm always multitasking, right? So you've got the phone and the tablet and the TV shows on, trying to monitor the awards show. And she started to sing and I just dropped what I was doing and who is that? And ever since then, I've been a huge fan. Yeah, I love what she does. There are so many, though. There are so many, and so many locally. Manitoba is rife with talent in all music genres, not just country music. And I like all kinds of music as long as it's good.
And it's nice, I think, with our jobs too, when you meet these young artists and you see them grow and expand and and become famous. You almost feel like their mom, kind of a dead mom. In a way, kind of. But no, I guess the best part of your job, Leanne.
Oh, well, it's people. I love people, and I love it when they connect with me and they feel like they're comfortable enough that they can call me at the radio station like a friend. The artists in this community and the support that you give back and forth. I developed Boss Tunes with the Boss Lady because not everybody can get on to the radio station. The competition is so fierce in Canadian country, which is a great problem to have, but it's tough when you're just trying to break in, absolutely. And so just to raise profile and have a platform, and I get to have these super talented, wonderful young artists come in to see me all the time. Those are my favorite things. Just connecting, whether it's with artists, whether it's with people in the community, whether it's with you.
I know. And I just want to say, Leanne, you are so incredible. Meeting you for the first time at the Manitoba Country Music Awards, and we were taping it and working that, and I saw you working the stage, and wow, girl. I mean, everything is great, and Winnipeg is very happy to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful year. First the CCMA, and then I won the MCMA this year. Thank you so much. It makes me feel so welcomed in my local community and then across Canada too. The recognition is lovely, but it's all about the people. The people behind that is what's important to me.
Well, she's still the boss lady here in Winnipeg. Leanne, listen to her on QX 104. After the break, it's Snack in a Movie, and it's the making of Together as One, and we find it's a big surprise for Dad. Side story